lot of good possibilities for the state of Utah in regards to its hockey.
Real fun opportunity here this evening as well, as there's a youth tournament. The Bakes has two rinks, and there's a youth tournament going on the other side of the ice, and for those young men to be able to see, young men and young women to be able to see, a possibility. I remember when you were in that size of a rink, and in that size of gear, and just the first time that the idea of playing, beyond mites and mini mites and all that started to kind of grow on you. And in fact, it was a former captain of the BYU hockey team, Jim Burkhart, who first got the idea that playing hockey at BYU was a realistic option for you.
Yeah, a lot of people, and to see, I know a couple of guys playing for Weber State, and obviously playing for BYU, know a lot of those guys, and everyone is so encouraging, and they're here because of their love for the game, but they also hope to pass that love of the game on to so many people that it really is building legacy for all of these guys to continue to help that sport grow and find people that, just like us, once upon a time wanted to play more hockey, wanted to continue something that they love. And so a lot of people out here tonight, and an awesome opportunity BYU has is a young fan, Alex, is going to be coming out, and he's going to be an honorary starter for BYU. A passionate young fan, he's here at all of the games, and just another evidence of the fact that hockey's popularity in the state continues to grow, and there are these young people who have a passion and a love for the game as well. And so honoring Alex tonight and his fanship for BYU will be something special and something that will continue to gain popularity amongst people his age going into high school, who hopefully will continue to pick up the game and keep playing.
Yeah, that little things like that. If I get if you hear my microphone get wet or I get choked up at all, there's a lot of dust brewing around here in the rink, and sometimes dust gets in my eyes. So I'm not actually sensitive. I don't cry, but sometimes it gets dusty in here. So as BYU gets ready to have their starting lineups come out, first stop with the Weber State Wildcats.
Number 18, Jacob Vesnilian. In the forward position is number 80, Andrew Borges. In the forward position is number 10, Scott Hirsch. The defensive position is number 15, Carter Fritz. The defense is number 19, Jeremy Region. And in goal is number 35, Trenton Wendt. Fans, it is now time to meet the starting lineup for your BYU Cougars. Center is a junior out of Farmington, Utah. He's number 87, Alex Barris.
Starting at center for the Cougars will be Alex Barris coming out eventually. There you go. Nope, Chris Udall comes out first.
At left wing is a senior out of Gilbert, Arizona. He's number 8 and is currently on the ice, Chris Udall.
They've gotten so far Udall and Manzella with the old lead us out onto the ice trick tonight. Chase Christensen will be at right wing.
Spanish Fork, Utah, number 29, Chase Christensen.
Alex Stroud, number 9.
At left defense is junior out of Salt Lake City, Utah. He's number 3, Sam Ritter.
There goes Sam.
At right defense is a sophomore out of Temecula, California. He is number 22, Ethan Martinez.
And the first one we've had on time is Ethan Martinez.
He's a senior out of Eagan, Minnesota, number 33,
Jared Manzella comes out. It looks like starting off, they'll have
Fans and
Chris
the
Udall
party
starting at
tonight's
center,
event, we want to take this opportunity to recognize our two
at least for the
departing senior
first
players in their
shift,
final
as
home
a
game.
tribute to him as a senior.
First, we want to recognize number 8, Chris Udall.
There is Chris Udall, the senior.
Chris actually started his involvement with BYU hockey when he was 10 years old and began attending the youth summer camps put on by the team. His love for hockey, and specifically BYU hockey, has been the driving force behind his dedication and hard work to constantly improve every season as a player and to promote the team he loves. Chris always has a huge following in the stands, but his efforts to get fans to games
Chris's
goes beyond
family and his fiance.
His professional efforts have led to spots on BYU TV, Sports Nation, and Between the Lines that have helped raise awareness of the team among BYU faithful and have helped fill the stands. In recognition of these efforts and the sacrifices Chris has made to play 5 seasons as a Cougar, he was awarded the Jackson Logan Memorial Award in 2018 and scored his first collegiate goal wearing Jackson's retired jersey in our annual CHB awareness game. Chris's skills are not limited to his performance on the ice, but he is a legitimate and talented stage actor as well. Last summer, Chris landed the starring role in the hit play The Newsies as Jack Kelly, the passionate and charismatic leader of the Newsboys Union, a role that is a reflection of Chris's own personality. We're sure Chris will miss BYU hockey, but he has found a new love and soon a new life with his fiancée, Keisha Coleman. We wish Chris and Keisha all the best in their future together. Please give it up one more time for Chris Udall. Our other senior is our outstanding goalie, number 33, Jared Manzella.
Jared Manziel, there, number 33, with
Jared
his
is a Minnesota
girlfriend
native who has played
and
3
his brother.
seasons with the Cougars after a couple of seasons with the University of Utah. Jared was a solid skater as a youth and could be counted on to put up some serious goal scoring, so it was a surprise to his parents when in the 5th grade, he decided to become a goalie. His folks scrambled to get him the equipment he needed, and in spite of at first putting his pads on the wrong way and not having the right skates, he learned a lot, dedicated himself to the position, and quickly became a solid goaltender. As a high school junior, his team placed 3rd in the Minnesota High School Stakes Championships, which is no small feat in the state of hockey. Jared would especially like to thank his parents and his younger brothers for all their support and sends his love tonight. As a BYU Cougar, Jared was a key player in the team's 2 historic championships in 2019 Wasatch Cup and in Mountain West Collegiate Hockey League, where he shut out Utah State Aggies in the championship game in Logan. He was also named 2nd team all-region goalie. Jared's love for the game of hockey is reflected in his 3 younger brothers, who he has coached and mentored, and who are all quality goaltenders in their own right, and is also evident in his position as the youth hockey coordinator here at Peaks Ice Arena. Besides hockey, Jared loves pineapples, skiing, exotic pets, and being CEO of his own clothing company, Lenore Clothing. When all is said and done, however, his greatest love is his fiancée, Tori Reck. We wish you and Tori all the best. Give it up one more time for Jared Manzella. Before we start the national anthem tonight, we do have an honorary starter.
Jared was going to take his blanket to the crease with him.
Just in case he got cold during this game.
And now, fans, please rise and remove your caps for the singing of our national anthem. Tonight, it will be sung by Keisha Coleman.
Whose broad stripes and bright
Tasia Colby with the rendition of the national anthem. Recently engaged to Chris Udall, or recently re-engaged, as I was catching up on my Instagram earlier, and he had proposed earlier, and then the ring wasn't ready, so he re-proposed on Thursday.
Yeah, just before Valentine's Day. Couldn't do it on Valentine's Day, of course, as the Cougars were too busy beating UVU that night, so I had to get it done the night before, but I'm sure the sentiment was felt nonetheless.
As we look at tonight's matchup, as Cougars get ready to come out to the face-off circle, Weber State has had a very strong season, and these games have been very close. I believe they've gone to overtime 3 times this season with Weber State, and so look for a very tight matchup. Weber State trying to preserve some momentum going into the playoffs next week, and then BYU looking to just remind them that they are in fact the big brothers here, as BYU wins the face-off, but then gives it up to Weber State. Weber State gets it in deep and turned over by Weber State. Out of the zone, back in. BYU will chase Martinez along the boards there with up to Udall. Chase Christensen trying to clear it out, can't. Sent out to the point and then chipped out loose by Chris Udall. Gain the zone. Get down to the red line and throws a shot on net, hits the side of the net and will come out loose. And Weber State able to dump it back in, where Jacob Eisenstadt will chase that down as teams change both sides. Adams' shot is blocked and comes back out to Teagan pitcher lookalike. I know it's not Teagan because he's here operating our camera.
Nate Baker wearing Teagan pitcher's jersey tonight.
I figured having the captain of the team would come in handy at some point. Maybe just knowing who's out there.
And Nate joined, in addition to the team this semester, been around Provo in BYU for a little bit, but just deciding that he wanted to give his contribution to the hockey team this semester, and has been a great addition so far.
It's a little different to see Teagan's number running around in the forward position. Teagan, of course, a defenseman, as well as a world-class camera operator, as Alex Barris turns the puck over and driven in deep. In behind the net, sent across the front, where Jared squares up and knocks that one down. Will cover that up. And first shot of the night, and Jared ready for it.
Yeah, something off that play there, something that has been a bit of a problem for the Cougars in the past couple of weeks has been turnovers deep in the defensive zone, and as well on the blue line. They did a much better job getting the puck out on the breakout, but a dangerous little turnover there beneath the net results in a shot on goal for Weber State.
Weber State takes the puck off the face-off and gets a shot. It's deflected high, they're able to hold it in. Chipped away and chipped out of the zone by Adams. Tossed in deep, where Jared will play it around. Picked up by Adams. Looking for someone to break out, getting some pressure there, and turns it over as Weber State will play it below the goal line. Tries to get it out in front and just ends up a little wide. Puck sent there to the middle by Adams to
Baker.
Thrown in deep. Sam Rudder, the good forecheck, gets it turned over to Osborne. He throws it in front, just misses Osborne's stick. And then, oh wow, what a save there. Oh, Rudder with a wide open cage, and the goalie with an amazing, if it was baseball, you'd call that a heck of a bunt, but it was a great play to get the stick out there, deflect that down, and BYU surprisingly still with a 0-0 game with 2 great scoring opportunities there on that rush.
Yeah, Osborne thinks he's got a wide open net there, and I believe it's Wenton net manages to get his paddle over and paddles that down. Beautiful save, incredible opportunity, a good show from the Cougars on the offensive opportunity.
Martinez and Osborne able to hold the puck there, but comes out. Optimus Prime dumps it back in. Held up at the blue line, trying to chip it forward. Eisenstadt will control and settle things down. Let the forwards turn up ice. Throws it across and kicked down by Chris Udall. Held into the zone by Chris. Gets a shot up and deflected high off the glove of the Weber State goalie. I believe that's Jaramillo, who forces it in deep and then sends it back out high to the point. Shot goes wide. Back out to the far point again and sent back down in low. Martinez will chip it away from 2 Weber State defenders to the point and back again. Turn. Martinez gains the puck, gets it to the face-off dot and thrown out by Chris Udall. BYU changing in. Weber State dumps in. Eisenstadt try to control, throws it towards the center of the ice, and a blind back pass is taken over by BYU. Barris Christensen there with 2 cats on him, and they'll throw it out, looking to try to get somebody cutting into the middle, and it's just thrown away. And then Stroud unable to collect it there at the red line.
Yeah, the Cougars looking a lot better on the breakout. Had a couple of opportunities where Weber State defenders pinched on the wall, but they were able to get a chip out, get it into at least to the neutral zone and get it down ice for them. But still a couple of risky turnovers down low, just turnovers back and forth a little bit, ending up with Weber State opportunities wide open in the slot.
Adams, Baker, and Ian Thunhorst are your forward line. Ian will hold that puck in. Throws a shot in on net. Glove down. Weber State will look to carry it out, gets a pass up forward and cut away by Adams. Sends it across to Sam Rudder. Sam looking for someone in the middle. It's chipped ahead by Ian Thunhorst. Ian will chase it down. Big telegraph pass there that was cut off by Prime. A lot of kind of disjointed action right now as both of these teams are trying to figure out how to play this game. You know, is it going to be physical? Is it going to not be physical? Or, you know, getting a read on who's got speed, who's scoring, who's doing what. And as they feel the game out, you'll start to see some of this neutral zone garbage clean itself up a little bit.
And whichever team manages to gain control in the neutral zone and show that confidence, I'm sure will be the team that jumps ahead first in this game and has a lot of control. That's been something that has shown to be essential in these in-state matchups, especially a lot of good teams, and it's been neutral zone play that's been the difference in all of them.
A late hand up on a penalty where it looked like he just kind of begged for it, and I don't know, looked like just tied up. I can't argue against it, but I can't argue for it. It's just one of those, like, I suppose it can be a penalty.
Yeah, it just looked like going in for the poke check, just kind of a weird angle as the Weber's players skating backwards still. And sure, the stick was there. Yes, he fell. I think depending on the referee that you have there, you may or may not get that call. But tonight, I think they want to keep this game under wraps. And if they do that early, they'll prevent it from getting out of hand late. Last time in overtime had a penalty that actually gave BYU the win, and I don't think the referees want that responsibility on them tonight to have to let calls for chippy stuff, extra stuff after the play be the determining factor in tonight's game.
So we'll see BYU's power play or penalty kill unit out for the first time. You've got Ethan Martinez and Jacob Eisenstadt at the defensive side of the box, and then you've got Alex Barris and Alex Stroud there at the forwards. Barris there in the face-off dot. Wins it forward, but it's taken over by Weber State. Shot on goal that Menzel's able to get down. And Alex Stroud will dump it out. Wildcats will hold the puck behind the net and line everybody up. Good forecheck there by Stroud. It forces a turnover. Now Barris will take over. BYU with Barris there. Holding, waiting, and then puck is blocked on Alex Stroud's shot there. Barris and Stroud with a great forecheck here, going on 30 seconds here in the defensive zone for the Wildcats as they've been on the power play, and Stroud and Barris able to pin them back in and put a lot of pressure on the Weber State goalie and the Weber State defense.
Yeah, it's that tenacious forecheck coming from Stroud and Barris. Quick guys, really confident and really disciplined, making sure that they're in the right spots at all times, and they managed to cause a lot of havoc for this Weber State power play.
And as Thunhorst buries Johnson there against the boards and turns the puck back down as we roll to 40 seconds left, and Thunhorst pirouettes there at the center of the ice, and again, Weber State having a hard time getting out of their own zone into the neutral zone. A loose puck down below the line. They send it up to the point, try to take a few seconds and get the offense set up, and they won't be able to as Martinez dumps it back out of the zone. And Thunhorst upset, feels like there was some missed contact in there, but no calls as BYU is preparing. That puck is turned over again by Christensen with 5 seconds left here on the Weber State penalty. And Jacob Eisenstadt will pick the puck up and dance through a couple of Weber State defenders as we go to even strength, and the goalie is able to make that stop on a shot from Eisenstadt. Took it near side, far side, and then across to get to his forehand, and then the goalie had plenty of time to set up and see that one come.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth behind the play there on that one. Despite what it looked like the referees trying to keep the game under control early, a bit of back and forth between Thunhurst and multiple of the Weber State players, and so we're gonna have to keep a close eye and see how the referees handle this situation, because it's early in the game and a lot of tension building between both these teams already.
Yeah, 11:48 left here in the first. Shot totals are low for these two teams. 4 to BYU, 2 to Weber State, and kind of dictates that they are trying to feel out how this game's going to be played. And so far the referees have kept a pretty tight leash on contact, but there hasn't been any real chippiness. If you see some of that stuff like you saw with Ian and some of the Weber State players carry over, you'll start to see things get a little more aggressive there as Prime checks number 19 for Weber State into the boards there. Sam Rudder tiptoes around, driving in, gains the zone, looking for some help as he's driven into the boards there low. He's got 2 Weber State players there with him, and Alex Barris will take over puck handling duties. He's got it. Stroud comes in and clears out a Weber State player to give Barris some space to operate. He sends it low. Alex pins the Weber State player there against the boards, forces the puck back out. Weber State looking and will finally just throw it, and race is on. Icing's waved off as Rudder and a Weber State player are getting there about the same time. Looks like that was Simpson. Heck will take it over, up the boards to Stroud, who sends it off the boards again to center ice. And then the puck kind of lazily handled there by the Weber State defenseman. Barris drops for Chase Christians, who gives it up forward too. Great shooting opportunity there from Adams. Trailing in, and BYU with the aggressive effort so far, especially in the offensive zone, as they've been able to do a lot of forechecking, getting most of the shots. Eisenstadt will throw that one back in deep. Thunhorst comes in low. Turned over to Adams. Adams throws it back towards the net mouth, and turned over and back up ice for Weber State as that one's lofted in and covered up by Jared Manzella. For a break in the action at 9:54. Shots 5-3 for the Cougars, but that, although it counts as a shot on goal, that was just a dump in there just to try to get a face-off and slow the action down a little bit for Weber State.
Yeah, the Cougars definitely taking advantage of the rush and gaining a lot of momentum in that opportunity with the backdoor pass to Adams. Great look, great opportunity. Something the Cougars need to realize is there's a strength in the rush for them as long as they can get numbers and speed going down into the zone. Definitely caught the defense off guard there.
Brown with a good shot that found its way on net through traffic, but Jared is able to kick that aside. The puck is sent back around. Martinez will chip it up to Baker. Baker along the boards with Thunhorst. Picked up by Simpson, I believe is who that is. Into the skates of number 18 for Weber State. No control on it from anybody until sent out to center ice by BYU and recovered by the Weber State defense. And thrown into scorekeepers area there on the bench. For most of you who don't know, this is not the first time Nixon and I have strapped microphones to our head and bored other people to death. For an entire season of Park City football, Nixon and I were partners in the broadcast booth, and I had fun. I don't know. Number 7 looked like he had forgotten how to skate there for a second, and Chris Udall tried to wrap around, covered up there by the goalie. You'll get a face-off there to the goalies.
I definitely had fun too. I spoke a lot less back then, though.
What was that?
I definitely had fun with the football broadcasting as well, but I happened to speak a lot less back then, so probably makes your job a lot easier now.
Well, I was thinking about that just as I was going on a 3-minute ramble there, and how different it is to do football versus hockey. You know, there's everything happens so much quicker in hockey, and there's just not time. And especially if you're doing the color like Nixon is, and then we'll probably switch this up off and on. But he doesn't have to open his mouth that often. BYU holds it in. Osborne gets a shot in, deflected on net there by Chris Udall. And again, it's not very often, especially in the first period of games, where we see the ice tilted to that end of the rink, especially at home. I mean, BYU, I've railed about it for as long as I've watched it. You know, gives up a ton of shots, especially in the first period. It seems like it's just a shooting gallery at the other end. But right now, BYU is holding possession down in their offensive zone and putting shots on net as another one goes. And really keeping the pressure on Weber State, keeping the shots on Weber State, and not letting them relax at all.
Yeah, BYU notorious, especially this season, for much stronger finishes than starts. A couple of late ties to send it to overtime. BYU really tenacious in the third period, and so good to see a tenacious start to the game. And the hope is that they have the same finish as they always do to accompany the start.
That puck is held in by Eisenstadt, sent down in low, turned back over to Stroud. Stroud rifles a wrister up into the glove of the Weber State goalie. Like, this is borderline relaxing for a Jared Manzella start. Like, Jared, I think there are Marine Corps rifle range targets that have seen less shots than Jared Manzella has this season, as the Weber State's able to clear the puck out of the zone. BYU will come back and reset. Puck is thrown ahead by Martinez and turned over, thrown back in to Martinez. A little game of give and go there with the Weber State defense. Weber State's turn as they get it back. Christensen, the nice open ice hit there on Fritz. And then Martinez tries to throw that up. Icing is waved off as it just misses Alex Stroud coming through the middle. Looking for that breakout. Johnson into the lap of Eisenstadt, thrown ahead and just off of Adams. I think since Tegan's right here standing out, just anytime something less wonderful happens, then we'll just say it's Tegan. If something good happens, then we'll say it's Baker. You know, that turnover was Tegan.
That was Tegan.
Yeah.
But that goal was Baker.
Right. Good hit, Baker, turnover, penalty. And for those of you who can't see, which is everyone, Tegan is doing a wonderful job pretending that none of this is affecting him and just ignoring us completely.
It's unhelpful that Baker looks so much like Tegan on the ice.
Yes.
About the same height, same build,
Yeah.
pretty similar style of play. Again, different position, but could have fooled me.
They both have that sort of like 14-year-old teacher age young man who just started growing too soon, you know, just like waiting for their body to catch up, you know, just like.
Hey, we love them both.
I think if we keep this up at some point, he's just going to hit us. He's still like just pretending like I see his grip on the camera stand getting tighter and tighter and tighter. But. And while we're picking on Tegan, a hockey game is still going on as BYU picks up the puck by Osborne off of the wall and up to Heck to Prime. Prime gets it down low to Heck and turned back over to Weber State. It'll get low to Sam Rudder. Sam carries out of the zone, gets it into the offensive zone there, gets it onto the net and throws up another shot as BYU's defenseman not afraid to lead the rush up ice, and you know what I've coached, you always like that. If the defenseman can carry that speed with you and the forwards can rotate out and cover the points, you want to keep that momentum headed towards the goalie instead of trying to give it up and connect on a pass.
Yeah, BYU with a lot of dangerous defensemen, guys who aren't afraid of speed or their hands. Eisenstadt, Heck, Rudder, pretty much all of them feel comfortable leading a rush, and a dangerous opportunity comes from it right there with Rudder moving it to the middle of the ice.
Alex Barris tiptoeing around everybody there on the goal line and finally finds Stroud in the face-off circle, who gets a shot on. It's gloved down, turned back inside by the Cougars and back down below the line and thrown out of the zone, and BYU will rush down and Stroud will win the race for the icing.
Fans, make sure to stop by the merchandise booth and buy some pucks to participate in our Chuck a Puck game happening between the second and third.
A little bit demoralizing for an offense, that for a defense rather, when you spend so much time down there in the offense or in the defensive zone and you're chasing a workhorse like Alex Barris down below the red line, back and forth, and then you finally can clear the puck and you get an icing, and now you can't change out. These are the situations where hopefully goals happen, as Rudder gets it to Christensen. Christensen in the middle to Barris, and he can't quite get a handle on it. Barris finds it again and tries to find Christensen down low. Puck's turned away again. Offsides. There you go.
Yeah.
Your mom always said to me, I can be a ref, I can be a coach, I can be a player, or I can be a parent. But I have to choose one before the game, and I can't be more than one. So sometimes I want to be a ref. I don't really want to be a ref. I just want to be able to criticize the refs openly.
I had the right call there, at least. And so did the referee on the ice, and we appreciate that.
That's one of the toughest ones because everyone in the stands sees it so clearly, and then the ref is always just like a half a beat behind. But by the time the ref catches up to what I've already seen and screamed about, then I hear your mom in my ear going, "Hush." Baker carries it up the ice, finds Thunhorst, who gets a shot that's chested down, picked up by Weber State. Thunhorst. A little bit of checky over against the Weber State bench as Weber State looking to get it out. Martinez throws it back in. Right there at Baker, who gets a good shot on and drops down, unable to finish that. And BYU still with the puck in the zone. The Weber State defense down below the line. Cross ice. There into the center, turned over to Optimus Prime. Gets his own rebound, gets a second shot, and then the Weber State defender tried to tap it back to the goalie and just about tapped it into his own net as Ethan Martinez is able to hold it in. And then Weber State will pick it up, thrown out, and gloved down by Fischetti, I believe. And Martinez will throw it in so that the Cougars can get a change. Osborne with a good forecheck down low. And that puck thrown out. Icing will be negated as the Weber State Wildcats will get their first, and Eisenstadt gets his stick in there, and that'll be our second penalty of the night. Those are the worst because there's really not, your stick's there and the guy happens to come across it, and you could see the look on Jake from here, just like, you gotta be kidding me. And I know as a player you're saying to yourself, that guy can't skate and I have to go to the penalty box.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, Jacob doing the best he can to try to make a good stick check, make sure he controls the direction that he's trying to take that puck and take a step on his stick. And what the rule book says, that's a penalty, unfortunately, whether or not you meant to do it. And so BYU again is going to end up on the penalty kill.
Face-off won by the Cougars and chipped out of the zone. Barris and Stroud on the forecheck, gets to center ice, and then dumped in low. Jared will play it around the back of the net where Heck will pick it up and toss it back down the other end of the ice. And this is a surprisingly tentative first period for this Weber State team. Not just not just with the flow of the game, but physically. Like, I don't see, there's usually a little bit of, I don't want to call it anger, but at least aggression, you know, that they play against BYU, and they're not shy about, you know, playing bodies and making contact. And here it seems like they're definitely on the heels of their skates. Here, constantly turning back into the defensive zone, resetting, playing the puck back down low. You know, they're not aggressive at all going forward with the puck on from the offensive or defensive side of the play as they turn it over there in the neutral zone again. And BYU will send it down low as we go under a minute here in the penalty play or the penalty kill.
Yeah, I noticed Weber State missing a couple of players who usually add to the physical game. I haven't seen either of the Foxes touch the ice tonight. Both physical presences and different strategy for them, especially without those guys there to dominate so much physically. And they're going to rely a little bit more on hands and hopefully some speed. But difficult to rely on speed against a BYU team that is notoriously so fast.
No Foxes, no Fauberts. As Manziel makes the save, Fischetti turns that one away from the defender and sends it down ice as we're under 20 seconds to go here in the second BYU penalty. Jacob Eisenstadt in a 2-minute minor for tripping as that one's turned over to Fischetti. I'm going to just sit quietly here for a minute.
Fischetti with a short rush, turned over again in the Weber State defensive zone. Alex Stroud on the rush, taking a shot, rebound, loose behind the net as Alex plays it out. It's turned over to Weber State.
Chipped up ahead behind Martinez will turn it back in towards the center line and sent down low by Barrett. Covered up there by Heck and sent to the wall to Christensen, who regains and looking to get out. Tosses it ahead to Alex Stroud. Minute and 45 seconds left to play here in the first period. A lot of that just kind of hopeful passing also from the Weber State side where, you know, kind of hard passes through the neutral zone hoping to connect with somebody, and usually just a touch ahead or a touch behind. Gets up high and sent off the pads to the side there by Manzella. Fritz up high, throws it into the chest of Heck. Funhorst will carry it down in low, get it up the boards where Adams tips it up to Christensen. Weber State will change out and change again. Minute left here in the first. Martinez looking for the home run and right there to Baker. Baker with a shot and deflected up into the netting by the Weber State goalie.
Tough angle down there for Baker to try to make something of it. Had Thunder coming to the net, covered pretty well by the Weber State defense. I think shooting's the right choice there, but I think shot selection maybe a little bit lower, hoping for a rebound. He goes for the home run, the near side corner, and we're going to get a face-off out of it nonetheless. An opportunity for BYU to try to capitalize in the next 48 seconds of this period.
Osborne, Prime, and Udall. As Osborne is cross-check to the ice. I believe that's what it's called when you two-hand stick across the neck of somebody, but sent out.
But you're not a referee, so.
Osborne and number 18 taking some extracurricular swipes at each other here. BYU turns it back up. Eisenstadt carries it on, turns, pivots back into the glove of the Weber State defender. Under 20 seconds here to play. And that one thrown in deep. Icing should come, but it's waved off as 80 gets there first. Puck gets out to the middle. 10 seconds. BYU can get a shot here if they can turn it up ice. 6 seconds to go. And good defensive play there by the Wildcats, and they will hold off and keep BYU from getting a shot here as we end the first period. 0-0. Disjointed period of hockey on both sides. BYU with the dominant offensive production, at least in terms of zone time, out shooting 17-8 and killing off 2 penalties. And Weber State, you know, they've got to kind of go into the locker room and look in the mirror and try to figure out who they are, because they don't look or act or smell like the Weber State that we're used to seeing.
And BYU, again, with more shots on net, better offensive zone opportunities, but I think this game is still going to come down to the neutral zone. That the best opportunities BYU had was on the rush, and the neutral zone for both teams still looks a little messy. It's a lot of missed passes, a lot of wobbly passes, and I think whichever team manages to clean up the neutral zone first is going to be the team that has the advantage and the strength in this game.
So when we come back, we'll have second period action here from Provo, 0-0 after 1. You're watching BYU hockey coming to you from the Peaks Arena. Second period coming up next. in onside by Baker. Gets a shot on net and then thrown down. Funhorst has been a little spicy today.
Nothing yet, Coach.
But no penalties assessed for the brief intermission of activity there. And offensive zone face-off.
Hey, Coach, still nothing.
Puck dropped there as Osborne able to get it down deep below the red line. BYU tries to hold it into the zone and does. Turned over there to Weber State. Thrown in the deep end. And then turned back over as Chris Udall will carry it out of the zone and chips it ahead. Osborne picks it up. Held in on side by Fischetti. Fischetti trying to find someone going to the net and just misses the outstretched stick there of Osborne and Udall. And Weber State tries to find some momentum going back the other side of the ice as we're at 7 minutes and 37 seconds left here in the second period. Chris Udall there with the puck along the boards, along with Osborne and Chris tying up a couple of Weber State Wildcats as they hold the puck and just keep moving, and finally puck comes out. And they're going to call a hand pass in there.
Hand pass is the call.
It looked like Chris Udall on the ice must have been looking to move it somewhere, and we're going to end up with a defensive zone face-off for the Cougars here.
Shots doubled up by the Cougars, 26-13, 2-2, 7:18 here to play. Udall, Osborne, Fischetti, Heck, and Prime as the puck is tipped out of the zone. Udall sends it, Weber State sends it across where Caponos, I believe, is the name of it. Picked up low and sent up to the point where Fritz is asked to have a seat there by Chris Udall. Puck deflected off a couple stiffs and then thrown up high, and icing waved off. I saw that hand go up here, and then I saw two Weber State players choose not to play it, and rightly waved off. As Alex Barris reminds everybody that he can hit.
Alex is a big boy, and when he decides he wants to use that body, I pity the poor person who puts himself in the way.
He's strong and he's quick. You know, I see sometimes, you know, guys trying to pull him off the puck, and he just out-muscles people, and just soft-spoken, quiet guy. And then if you wrong him or someone he loves, then you will pay a hefty fine. Puck down low. Stroud looking for someone cutting around and throws the puck off the inside pad of the goalie and kicked out somehow.
I heard it hit a post as well in there.
Puck again deflected away. You know, Alex taking one of those, you run out of options there in the corner, so throw it at the net and hope for something to happen. Alex Barris tying up two things and then takes a stick to the head. Barris cuts loose and just carries a little too wide of the net. Still control the puck down low. Barris. Sorry, that's Smith down there. As BYU looks to regroup again, Martinez will carry it up. Adams, Martinez throws it on, and BYU will get a offensive zone face-off. 5:14 to play here. A couple times, first period, second period, where BYU's had opportunities for kind of stretch plays, and just the puck, when the offensive guy has to just stretch a little bit to try to control that puck, it takes all of your momentum and cuts the space you have to make that move significantly, and that's happened to Alex twice here in the second period as that puck is chipped off the boards and out.
But seeing more and more looks at that, showing BYU's speed and endurance here, as it looks like Weber State is unprepared and unable to defend those plays. I imagine we'll see more of that as the game goes on.
Smith controls and sends it out. Pitcher loses the handle. Baker down in the corner forces Weber State to turn it back around. Weber State gains the side and then sent down. Smith will gather. I'm not sure who's wearing number 4 for Weber State, but that is the Troy Kornberg Memorial number 4 jersey. As Weber State looks to come around, puck's loose out in front. And sent high and wide. Smith tied up with a Weber State defender there as he sends it down low. Heck trying to get to it first. Puck is loose. Baker into a stick. And then good job there from Sam Rudder to stop the offensive play and force it out as Baker will carry it in, trying to get in on net. Gets a shot off the leg pad. Lazy pass there from the blue line, turned back in by Martinez.
Simpson lucky to still have his head after Martinez made that step there, quite frankly.
Yeah, Martinez and Simpson having some discussion on the merits of socialist policies in democratic government. As Eisenstadt looks to carry that puck, sends it around. Udall will try to chip that out, stop there by 15 and sent back towards the net. Give and go, breaks Eisenstadt out. He's got odd man rush, evens up quickly. Eisenstadt with the puck gets a shot on net. Chested down there by the goalie. Eisenstadt turns, comes back up, cycles it down low to Udall. Udall will send it towards Osborne. Osborne gets a shot that's covered up by the Weber State goalie. 2:59 to play here. BYU extending their shot lead in a tie game, 30-16. So Weber State's looking at 8 shots in the first, 8 shots in the second. 2 goals on their first 4 shots, and then BYU has really clamped down. And you've noticed it through the neutral zone and especially on the defensive end where they're not able to get things to the net that they were in the first 2 minutes.
You know, the interesting thing about this game, different than others, is BYU typically is not on the winning side of the shot count, doubling Weber State's shots here. And so interesting to see, and phenomenal shout out to the goaltender Trenton Went, who has been able to turn away the shots. BYU, when out shooting teams, typically is not in as close of a game, especially teams like this. And so a solid defensive effort and great goaltending for Weber is keeping them in this when BYU has corrected something that's been difficult for them and leads the shot count so far with a lot of dangerous opportunities.
Barris wins the puck back to Martinez, who gets a shot on net, and that puck is sent down for an icing. You know, every time I've been fortunate enough to strap this microphone to my head and complain incessantly for 2.5 hours, it's one of the things that I've noticed. And oftentimes shot totals are so much more about defense than they are just a goalie. A goalie gets to face what comes through, but oftentimes if there's not a defensive presence, then those shots will leak through. And BYU has done a much better job of shutting down shot lanes, deflecting stuff, and then keeping Weber State from getting in areas where they can take shots constantly. As BYU turns that puck in, Stroud will carry and drive it down low. Chase Christensen down low. Chase and Alex Barris. Alex with control. Gets it up to the point. Shot from Eisenstadt, got deflected, didn't quite make it there. I'm not sure who had the second shot, but Christensen tapped it in for the finish, and BYU takes their first lead of the evening.
That's Barris tapping it in for the finish there.
This is an unbelievable scoring outbreak for Alex Barris. 2 goals in the same night.
And great shot. Jacob Eisenstadt sending it from the point through traffic. I believe it was off of a Weber State stick trying to deflect it away and actually confuses the goalie, puts it to the back door, opposite direction he was sliding, and had no chance of sliding back over as Barris is sitting there just waiting, not even forcefully putting in the net, just kind of gently sliding it in just because he's got the time. He's not in any rush.
I almost can hear Alex apologizing as he's doing it.
Yeah, Alex, who knows Trenton in goal. Trenton, an Eagle alumni. I've taken many shots on him in practices long ago.
Backhanded, goes wide there from pitcher. And Weber State will head back up ice. if that were a big move or a big hairy clapper from Barris, there's no apology. But just feeling bad that it was just sort of like just an excuse me, sir, but I'm just gonna have to put this in.
Barris he's a professional man. He doesn't take great pleasure in making other people look bad at their job, and so an opportunity like that, he's just
he's doing what he needs to do for the team.
He's doing what he has to do.
Yeah.
And we expect nothing less from him.
Puck gets in low for Heck, and Heck will hold along the boards and send it up. Adams gets it up to Osborne. Osborne looking to get in the zone and does, and they're tied up with Smith a little bit, comes around the net and taps it in on the wraparound. Osborne with just a little bit of hesitation as he came towards the net and just kind of froze the goalie, and then quick stride, burst of speed, gets it around, just tucks it inside the left skate there for the goalie.
Yeah, I mean, Osborne coming in, making himself an option, a threat with it on his forehand, and Ben Smith does a great job making sure he puts himself in a dangerous spot in front of the net. So that goalie doesn't want to move away from that post in case there's that near side pass and near side opportunity. That hesitation, that danger, and that threat from Ben Smith gives Osborne enough time to break that around to the other side of the post and slide it on in past the skate there.
BYU doubles up their lead as we just go inside a minute here. You know, a wraparound goal is so much about, you got to make yourself seem like you're not a threat and then have the speed to get around there and, more importantly, be able to turn the toe on that stick to get it enough of an angle to wrap around that board, that post, and Osborne does that to go to a 4-2 lead for the Cougars as that shot is gloved down by Jared Manzella. Sent ahead to Chris Udall, who will lose control of it there at the blue line and sent down in low. And Ethan Martinez will fire that back off the boards. 20 seconds left here to play as Weber State looking to try to recapture their momentum. You know, inside the first minute and I believe it's 37 seconds of the the second period, Weber State took a 2-0 lead, and BYU has answered back with 4 consecutive goals as the clock will run dry here in the second period. And BYU with a barrage of shots. You saw the ice tilt there towards the Weber State end there with about 11 minutes left in the period, and BYU with that real heavy forward pressure that we saw in the first period, heavy forecheck, and then getting anything that can be sent to the net on the net and making Weber State work. All of a sudden they go from feeling really good about, hey, we've established ourselves, we're the big boy here, up 2-0, to going into the locker room scratching their head trying to figure out what in the heck Connor Heck has happened here.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I remember a coach a long time ago telling me that the most dangerous thing that you can do to put another team down is to score in the first minute of a period or in the last minute of a period. And coming out into this second period, it seemed like Weber State had taken that and tried to go for the jugular a little bit here. But BYU, resilient, comes in, and 4 unanswered goals is a remarkable feat in any period. Interesting for a game that was scoreless in the first to end with in this second period with so much scoring and this kind of back and forth, this little flip-flop here that BYU has ended up on the better end of here.
Yeah, BYU ends the first period, I felt like with all the momentum, really debilitating, demoralizing first 2 minutes of the second period, and then owns the second half of the second period, and we'll see what happens when they come back out for the third period. BYU up 32-17 in shots, 4-2 on the scoreboard after erasing a 2-goal lead for Weber State. And the final 20-minute period of the 2019-2020 season for BYU will come to us with the third period when we come back here from Peaks Ice Arena. BYU up 4-2. We'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back to Provo, Utah here. Apologies to both of our viewers that we had a little technical difficulty as we missed video on the first half of the second period. But I assure you it was glorious.
The second half might have been the better half, though. That was the glory for the Cougars, though.
But it's like watching the second half of a dramatic film where the protagonists are never set up. You don't know why they're in trouble. You just see them get themselves out of trouble. It's not as endearing. It doesn't last.
Yeah, that's fair.
But nevertheless, I guess we'll go ahead and broadcast the whole 20 minutes this time.
If we have to.
I feel like we can try to assign blame for what happened to a lot of different areas, but I just want to point out that Tegan Pitcher is on the camera.
Not Nate Baker.
Baker was on the ice. Pitcher was on the camera. We had a problem with the camera, not with what was happening on the ice. I'm not pointing fingers or blame. I'm just saying, these are just facts.
There seems to be a strong correlation between problems and the location of Tegan Pitcher, it seems. But we're glad he's here and he's up for the job anyway.
Get ready here as Alex Barris will line up and take the third period face-off. Controlled there by Chase Christensen, taken into the zone and given away by Alex Stroud. It's sent back down where Ethan Martinez will try to clear it out and does. Sent down in. Up to the sideboards, chipped up to Stroud, off the boards and out. Alex Barris will try to chase it down, and Weber State will take control of it and give it away there as Stroud rides the Weber State player down at the red line. And Eisenstadt will collect down low. Gives it over to Martinez, who sends it in as chipped onside there by Chase Christensen, who will head off for a change. Adams there on the forecheck, cross ice. And that shot chested down. Pitcher easily beaten there at the blue line. As Heck was able to get that puck, and Thunhorst will carry it out, try to carry it out and turn back over. Given up in the high slot there, and a high shot over the net. Weber State looking to establish a little more offensive presence here. Start this third period. Able to hold the puck into the zone again. Baker chips it up the boards there and out by Thunhorst. And that will trickle through the crease, but not on net, and icing for the Cougars. As Pitcher ices the puck.
Yeah, again, seeing BYU, one of those concerning things is going to be the breakout, and I heard them talking in the locker room beforehand, trying to avoid blind passes, trying to avoid just chipping it off the glass, using that only as a last resort, and rather trying to find a man to make sure that there's possession and strong presence in the neutral zone.
Shot from Brown at the point, kicked aside by Jared Manzella, and Adams ties up a Weber State defender, or player, I'm sorry, clears the puck up, glove down, and Weber State will be guilty of a high stick there and get a neutral zone face-off here for the Cougars. A lot more activity here in the start of the third period. This is a lot of the way that they started the second period, buzzing around in the offensive zone. And to this point, in the third period, BYU has withstood the starting energy effort there from Weber State. At this point in the second period, they were down 2-0, but right now, as we clear 18 minutes, BYU in the offensive zone looking to gain control of the puck. Not nearly. We saw some bouts there, physicality, a very brief period in the first period, and a little bit there towards the middle of the second period, but not as physical as we normally see a BYU Weber State matchup, as that puck is sent cross ice and down and covered up as Prime is there on the forecheck.
I think coming out of the intermission, both teams have had a moment to compose themselves and to think and reevaluate the position and things that need to be done. And physicality isn't necessarily always the answer, although it may be a part of the solution. And I think both teams have had to have a discussion about where physicality is going and where it's being used. And you can see both teams trying to clean up passes a little bit here as Stroud puts one loosely into the neutral zone.
Kicked up into the stick there by Barris. Barris gets it on net, down, unable to get the rebound back on net. As that puck will trickle down into the face-off circle, held into the zone again by Martinez. Stroud will chip it low, picked up there by Barris. Barris will send it around the boards. I'm sorry, that's Christensen. Christensen will get it up to Fassetti, who has his shot blocked off to the sideboards there by the Weber State defense, and they look to get a breakout going and do, as that puck is just out a little bit in front before he can corral it. He's trying to get his bearings there around the net. Mr. Fischetti introduces himself and invites the Weber State player to kindly park himself.
Fischetti, another addition this semester to the team. Solid body. I've watched a lot of people try to step up to him to take their opportunity to physical play on him, and it never ends well.
Shot from the point, chested down by Adams. That puck crossed the center of the crease. I remember his first game, and a number of people, I think he's going to get an interference there. Number of guys who had no idea who he was, just some random dude out there, and then he was rolling around the ice introducing him to people at will, and this time that introduction will cost him 2 minutes.
Yeah, close one there. The puck on its way towards the Weber State winger, making a play to try to get out of the zone, and Fischetti does as most defense do and step to the body there. Unfortunately, winger never makes solid contact with the puck, and it's going to send Fischetti to the box for 2 minutes.
I think also, you're the official. You've watched him bounce a couple of guys down, and then there's maybe a half a stride there where it can go either direction, and where you've already seen him, clean up a couple of people, you're going to lean towards blowing the whistle there, just, again, to reel the game in before it gets out of control. Because if you don't...
Sometimes there are injuries, sometimes they're worse, and just trying to keep Fischetti in check, and I imagine it will be at no cost to his physical game. I'm sure he'll be ready and rearing by the time his 2 minutes are up, and opportunity for the Cougars on this Texas Kids Dental penalty kill to keep this game and to keep their lead in control.
Weird. Alex Barris won a face-off.
Never heard that before.
Huh. Barris wins a face-off, sent out and around, and then collected by Weber State as they come in, gain the zone, a hold up, and try to get their power play working. Carried down in low and chipped away there by Jacob Eisenstadt, and Stroud will fire it out. And BYU will change up the forward line, as looks like Adams will come over the wall. Adams, Eisenstadt, Thunhorst, and Martinez will be your penalty kill unit here for the Cougars. Weber State looking again to try to get into their power play offense. They send it cross ice. Fritz has it, gets a shot. It's right into the chest. And as a power play unit, you're having trouble getting set up. That's the right play. Get it on net, force a face off. You got to win the face off, but that's better than just scrambling around trying to find a rhythm when the puck is loose.
Yeah, a penalty kill is going to do their best to make sure that there's as little composure between the power play players as much as possible, and BYU with their speed and tenacity tends to do a really good job at that.
Thunhorst wins a fight there in the face-off circle, gets the puck, and is able to fire it off the boards and down, and so Weber State will have to try to regroup their power play unit on the fly as they gain the zone. And puck is thrown wide of the net. Weber State will collect, trying to get it up to the point, and they do. Cross ice to the other side point, and a high shot thrown. Glove down by Manzella, and then jumps out on top of it. With 36 seconds left in the Fischetti penalty, Weber State will reload for this offensive zone face-off. And if you're Weber State, that last face-off was the face-off you needed to win. You put Barris back in there, Barris and Stroud, top penalty kill unit, and the odds that you're going to win that face-off are low. They had a chance there, and then Alex Barris forces the puck out. 27 seconds left here, and Barris there, Stroud there, ties up 2 Weber State players and forces the puck back. And Martinez will send that down against the boards. 10 seconds as Weber State turns back up ice, trying to get momentum and generate some offensive chances. That puck chipped away at the blue line. BYU will kill that penalty. Go back to even strength. 13 minutes and 45 seconds here to play in the third period. Puck will come out to the point. And a nice idea there, but nobody home. As Thunhorst is going to try to outrun the Weber State players. Puck is loose there along the goal line and finally recovered there by the Cougars. Eisenstadt pick it up at top of the face-off circle, send it down to Baker. Baker will send it down to Thunhorst. Tries to send it up front for Adams, but the puck doesn't make it there. Weber State with numbers on the far side. Puck loose. Eisenstadt will control and turn it back up ice. Drives to the net. Gets a shot off, deflected wide and down low. The puck chipped out. BYU able to regroup there at center ice as Udall will send it back in.
Icing on the Cougars.
Strange icing call as he fired that puck through 2 Weber State Wildcats and a Cougar off the boards and still ends up with an ice.
I think the Cougar offsides, unable to make a play on the puck or avoid an offsides penalty. So within reach reasonably of Weber State players, but nonetheless the referee decides that it's worth bringing it down to the other end.
Martinez sends it around. West Prime will get it out of the zone again. Weber State collects and tries to get into the offensive zone. Sends it in low where Jared Manzel will control. Up to Martinez, will fire it down the length of the ice and pick up another icing call.
Icing on the Cougars.
BYU not generating a lot of shots so far. You know, almost like, okay, let's protect. You know, they're not parking the bus, but they haven't really tried to generate much offensively going the other direction. They seem content to collect and gather and then chip it out of the zone and regroup.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have the penalty kill. And now the Cougars trying to compose themselves again and try to generate something offensively. You know, having to gain momentum again after having to kill a penalty like that can be kind of hard for teams sometimes, and it doesn't seem they've done much in terms of generating offense since then.
Neutral zone turned over almost there by Weber State. Sent back. The defenders will try to regroup. Weber State has just not been able to really gain, you know, consistent flow with their offense. They can push it back, give it to the defensive guys, try to get their offense set up and head down ice as that puck is fired on net by Chase Christensen, still loose in front of the net and sent to the corner. Weber State up high along the boards where it's tied up and turned back over to Chase Christensen. Christensen and Stroud force it down below the goal line. Turned around up along the boards where Alex Barris will try to turn him over and send it back down below the goal line. Cross still below the goal line, tipped out. Christensen turns it over, gets 2 shots, third shot finally covered up there by the Weber State goalie, but that Weber State goalie has got to be looking at his defenders and asking them, what are you guys doing? Just down there passing the puck to each other behind the goal line and letting an aggressive forecheck first pin him down there, and then second to just take the puck away from him and get a great opportunity there on net.
Yeah, a lot of freedom for the Cougars to be working the puck around, moving it towards the front of the net, and as a goaltender that would be a bit frustrating. You would hope that they could at least keep the puck wide, but Cougars seeming to freely move the puck wherever they will at that given moment and puts it dangerously in front of the net. Goaltender able to lay down on it, keep enough track of it to keep it out of the net. But I would be looking at my defenders there and saying, you guys need to move the puck somewhere, off the glass, up, out, get a bit of control.
BYU sends it back down. It's interesting when you're, if you look at a forecheck and a situation like that, last minute or so of football, or I'm sorry, of hockey, it's a lot like the forecheckers become the defensive line, and they can put all the pressure they want back there. But if the defense and the center don't hold the passing opportunities away, then you're going to end up with an easy clear. But the defensemen become your cornerbacks and your safety, and they're just playing passing lanes, trying to hold everything back. And the longer they can maintain coverage back there, the harder it is for the defense to get that puck out. The turnovers get forced as Adams is going to come away with a penalty.
Yeah, Adams made a step on a Weber State player who was looking to move the puck away, unable to make contact with him before he was able to do so. They're going to call that one interference. I don't know if I completely agree with that. I think Adams made a solid attempt and was in motion. The puck was in a reasonable distance. I don't know that I agree with that call, but again, like a lot of the things we've seen so far, can't fault them for making it. You wouldn't fault them if they didn't. And the Cougars, again, going to kill another penalty. The second penalty kill this period so far.
The penalties heavily slanted in favor of Weber State, as Weber State, I think, has had 2 penalties to, I believe this makes number 6 for the Cougars. As,
penalty to number 25, Jake Adams, 2 minutes for interference.
Alex Bears pitchforks that out and looks around to wonder how the stick wrapped around his forearms was not a penalty, but nevertheless, Weber State will get it back in low. BYU collapses down in and closes that opportunity off very, very quickly. They have to send it back out to the point, sent down low, chased around the backside of the net as Martinez is going to get there and bring down the puck carrier, chip it away to Eisenstadt. Eisenstadt will carry it up, gains a little momentum through the neutral zone, finds himself down 1-on-3. The puck wiggles through the Weber State goaltender, but wide, and Weber State will come back up. Gets the zone, high slot there, and then just hammered right into the stick of Jacob Eisenstadt and sent back down ice, where Weber State will have to carry it in deep to try to regroup. Chase Christensen with a forecheck. You look at the bulk of this Weber State penalty power play time on both of the power plays in this third period, and they're constantly down below their own defensive blue line with 3 and 4 players down there. They can't get the puck out of their own zone. They finally do, carried down below the goal. Up to the point, shot goes on, deflected wide. Into the slot, gloved by Manzella and chipped out where Heck will send it into the corner. Chase Christensen finds it, gets back up to the Weber State point. Cross into the top of the faceoff circle, a high shot that's gloved by Manzella. 17 seconds is all that remains here on this BYU penalty kill, with a couple of decent scoring opportunities, but BYU closing those down very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, credit to the Cougars that have a notoriously great penalty kill, but I think you can see Weber struggling a little bit without some normal players on their power play, missing the speed of the Faubert brothers or the Foxes to be able to, who usually quarterback that breakout, especially for Weber State on the power play, and struggling to make anything of it so far.
Puck down in low, turned over. Heck doing a good job tying up a couple of Wildcats. That puck sent out in front and then hammered down ice by Udall as that penalty will expire. BYU back to even strength. 8:27 to play here in the third period. Chris Udall throw that back in off of Fritz. Fritz gains the puck and sends it up and out of the zone, trying to find some numbers headed up ice. They will dump it in, try to collect. Puck sent back towards the net. Sam Rudder will collect it, carry it up, and send it up out of the zone. And Weber State tries to throw it back in, but a little miscommunication. People headed in different direction as Udall throws that one and it's deflected up high. And here comes Weber State back down, try to throw a puck on net and sent down wide and low. holds into the zone, thrown into the face-off circle. Barris will collect it. Carry it up ice. Barris and Prime. Barris rides out that check. Looking for an option here. That puck is deflected down low and carried out by Weber State number 13, who will try to throw it in, and that puck is deflected into the netting, and we'll get a offensive zone face-off for the Wildcats.
Yeah, BYU again killing off another penalty successfully, looking to gain a bit more momentum offensively. Able to gain the zone and have decent possession within the zone, but again, shot count not changing a lot. Not a lot of opportunities, and any opportunities coming not resulting in anything towards the net. 36 shots being the total now. I believe they finished the period at 32. That'd be only 4 shots in almost 13 minutes of the third period now.
I think with Weber State playing a little deeper onto their bench tonight with some of their typical starters. Not sure if they're out with injury or just resting, or I can see the Foxes both down in the tunnel here. But I can see a little bit, some of these other guys that are trying to find the best shot. Instead of taking, for me, if you can see the net, that's the best shot. Take a shot, and a shot will lead to another good opportunity. But if you're dancing around trying to overpass, looking for the perfect shot, you often miss scoring opportunities. Puck carried around the net by Adams, sent back out high to Eisenstadt. Walks the line, had Adams there on the back door and just couldn't find the handle to tip that back, as Weber State will collect and send it around the boards. Trying to get it out. Turned over there below the goal line. Baker harassing the puck carrier. Chipped ahead and will find the red line for the Cougars. Icing. 6:30 to play. And BYU will end up with an offensive zone face-off again as Smith, Udall, and Osborne will make their way out as the forwards, with Heck and Martinez as the blue line pairing. Osborne wins it back, picked up by Smith, who sends it down low. Osborne and Udall tying up the puck carrier. Puck is loose there, while Osborne will pick it up and is thrown down. The puck is sent over to try to get it out of the zone. Smith finds it and tips it back on to Udall, who gets a shot into the chest of the Weber State goalie, and BYU will get another offensive zone face-off here.
Yeah, last 30 seconds have been the greatest offensive opportunities the Cougars have had all period. Off the shot from Jacob Eisenstadt looking for Jake Adams on the back door, and then Ben Smith on the turnover to Udall into the middle. So BYU looking to find a stride offensively. Struggled thus far in the period, and we'll see if they can make something here.
Face-off won back by Barris to Martinez, who throws it into the glove of the Weber State goalie.
I imagine with some of Weber State's key players, sitting out this evening, whether it be injury or rest, preparing for regionals, for a lot of these guys on the bench, which still looks very full, this is likely a tryout for them to make sure who is going to be taking that trip to regionals. I imagine they can't bring everyone they have, on personnel that's been rostered this season, and so a lot of these guys, and they've shown that they want to play, they want to be competitive, and I think that for them there's a little bit more going on than just preparing for regionals. They're looking to make a spot there.
A couple of good shots there from the point by the Cougars, as Martinez and Heck both send pucks wide, but in both cases the Weber State goalie was not sure where those were coming from. Back up again to Martinez, and he'll send this one far wide. Well, I think the NBA, they call it load management, where you take nights off just to reduce the playing time. And for Weber State, that's headed off to another playoff. Risking some of your frontline players for a game that, other than bragging rights here in the state, is not going to mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but you are also, you have to balance that with, losing to the Cougars to end your regular season and carrying no momentum into whatever playoff schedule you end up with, and, coming in with really, give or take, 2 to 4 minutes of really good hockey so far out of 55.
Yeah, and the Cougars, keeping in mind that this is a team going to regionals, this is kind of a continued check for them that they can remain competitive. This sets a tone going into next season that a lot of these guys for the Cougars are returning. I imagine the same is for Weber State as well, and so this is a look at next year's competition. This is a look at how teams will fare moving forward into the future.
And BYU, we've talked about shot totals all night long, but BYU has held Weber State without a shot on goal for going on about 8 minutes as we go inside 4.5 minutes to play here in the third. Puck there in the middle. Finds stick of a couple of Weber State players, and there again is a situation where Weber State looking one extra pass. You get that puck there in the high slot, and instead of letting that shot go, they try to make an extra pass as Udall's taken down there in the center of the ice and has to be kept clear of the offending Weber State player. 4:18 to play here.
I think the referee's having a bit of a discussion about the extracurriculars here, but I think are deciding nothing will come of it as they leave it at the one penalty they called during the play.
Dodging a bullet there for the Cougars. And really, it would be unfair on senior night for Chris Udall to not get a penalty.
He's remained out of the box thus far.
I know. He tried really hard to get an invite there, but BYU with a power play here as Eisenstadt will send that over to Alex Stroud. Stroud back up high to Eisenstadt. Back over to Stroud, who'll find a little piece of it to get it down to Barris. Barris and Christensen trying to control the puck, send it up high and kicked out by Jacob Eisenstadt. Pushes it up to Martinez. Martinez over to Stroud. It chips it in. And Weber State will send it down. Eisenstadt will collect. 30 seconds gone here in the Cougar power play. And a big turnover almost there for the Wildcats. But Barris there to collect. And BYU will head up ice. Puck left there for Eisenstadt, sent back up to Barris. And I think Alex thought he was carrying himself on offside, so a little tentative playing the puck. BYU will regroup. This time sent up to Ethan Martinez. Martinez will carry in. Carries in low. Sends it back over to the far side where Alex Barris can carry it. Up to Stroud. Stroud back down to Barris. Barris up to Stroud. To Eisenstadt. Over to Martinez. Martinez looking for an option and sends the puck in on net. As there are 44 seconds remaining here in the BYU power play.
Yeah, Cougars, again, with one more opportunity coming off this power play. The power play generating a little bit more offense than the rest of the period has so far. They're going to bring out their second unit and see if they can manage to move the puck towards the net, which I think is good, seeing the puck go towards the net, but I think we'll not see too much success until they can find traffic there, either put a shot through bodies and play rebounds or get a good screen.
Rudder sends it down to Chris Udall. Udall looking for somebody to get out in front. No one home as that puck is chipped out. Heck will regroup with it at the red line. Cross to Osborne. Osborne, Udall, Rudder, and Thunhorst. That puck sent across just a little too long for Chris Udall to get to. And that puck sent out and down. Heck will collect. And that puck sent up. Rudder there at the red line, blue line, I'm sorry. And turned back around as the Wildcats kill off that penalty. Even strength, set it up at the blue line, turned over by Ian Thunhorst. Thunhorst with a good shot off the right shoulder there of the goalie, and Weber State will gain the zone. They got a 3-on-1 as BYU regroups, and that puck is handled nicely by Jared Manzella, covered up. 1:47 here to play in the Cougar season, up 4-2.
Good look by Ian on that rush there. Had the Weber State player beat, and not a lot of time to handle the puck with such short space, and winds up, picks a good spot and puts the clapper in. Great job by the Weber State goalie to turn that aside nonetheless, and great opportunity going into the last 2 minutes here.
Barris wins that puck down to Eisenstadt, and Eisenstadt uses that long stick to send it out. Stroud's able to get a shot on net. Eisenstadt risks one in, and it's into the leg of Alex Barris. BYU will hold the zone, 1:20 to play as Alex collects down low, tries to find someone coming to the net there as Chase Christensen was coming in, and Weber State finally able to get a hold of the puck, and that puck will get sent down and kicked aside by Manzella. Weber State holds onto it, and Fischetti able to chip that out. Weber State will have to regroup. 45 seconds here to play. Eisenstadt will fire that up to Chris Udall, trying to give the senior an opportunity there, and Weber State sitting on it. A nice little pick play there, and not able to collect it. Baker drags through a couple of Weber State defenders and gets a shot on net. BYU's 43rd shot. It's been a while since we've had a game that didn't involve UVU that had an offensive shot total like this.
Yeah, good job from the Cougars, getting the puck towards the net, and, not some of the greatest opportunities, but these 4 goals that they've earned have been off of solid, drawn up things. When you talk about crashing the net and putting bodies in front, that's been a big part in the Cougars' goal total, and getting themselves back into this game, going down so quick early in the second period and be able to come back. Big hit by Ben Smith. Loving that opportunity just teed up there, but the Cougars going back to what they do well, and that's ultimately what did it for them in this game, to be able to come back and to play their game and to get a lead despite, a bit of a shift in momentum, and they hold on here at home for a win.
And getting everybody out on the ice as well. You saw some time here in the second and third period from Tucker Cox of not ACHA fame, and the Cougars able to really rally from what seemed like a really, really difficult position to be in, with 18 minutes and 27 seconds left in the second period, down 2-0, rattle off 4 straight goals, and on senior night put away a team that has been start to finish kind of the class of the division and the region, and to handle them, really from start to finish, keeping the pressure on Weber State throughout the game, withstanding their little bit of a momentum swing, and then turning around and really just finding a way to step on them and stay on them and finish out the game and come away with a really well-earned 4-2 victory.
Yeah, and this Weber State team going into regionals, not the momentum that they'd want to have, but I think they have some learning lessons come out of this, and they're still going to be strong and prepared nonetheless, and wish them the best of luck. But fantastic way to finish off this Cougar season and prepare themselves to understand that they're going to be competitive moving into this next season, that they're going to be able to come out, they're going to be able to win games, they're going to be able to fight, that they're just as much of a powerhouse here in the West as any of these other teams going to regionals, and I think that's what they want to prove tonight, and they did that with this win.
And for BYU, one of their better offensive showings for the season, at least in terms of certainly of shots. They really controlled pace of play. There were several moments throughout the game where it really looked like the ice had been heavily tilted in one direction, and that was in the BYU offensive direction. And so a lot of really positive things for the Cougars to build off of as they look forward to regrouping and coming back for the 2020 season. So 4-2 victory here from Provo as the Cougars salute their fans. And for Nixon Barber, I am Jeffrey Barber, father and son here, torturing your ears for the last couple of hours. Appreciate both of you tuning in and paying attention to this, and look forward to seeing more Cougar hockey here from Provo. For Nixon Barber, I'm Jeffrey Barber, and we say good night and drive home safe.
Have fun.
From wherever you are.